People say, oh, you don't like China. No, I love them. But their leaders are much smarter than our leaders. China, you go there now, roads, bridges, schools, you never saw anything like it. They have bridges that make the George Washington Bridge look like small potatoes. And they're all over the place.
While the USA debates infrastructure spending, 13 Chinese companies now rank among the top 50 construction equipment manufacturers globally. With combined sales hitting $243.4 billion, beating Western giants that once dominated the industry.
We have all the cards, but we don't know how to use them. We don't even know that we have the cards because our leaders don't understand the game.
The machines I am about to show you prove China is reshaping construction. Taisun gantry crane. Do you know what the heaviest thing ever lifted by a crane was? On April 18, 2008, a crane in Yantai lifted something so heavy it broke physics as we know it. Well, not really, but the Taisun gantry crane hoisted 20,133 metric tons, which equals 44,301,185,667 pounds. That's a water-ballasted barge, and yes, Guinness certified it as the heaviest crane lift ever recorded. To put that in perspective, Taisun lifted the equivalent weight of 200 fully loaded Boeing 747s stacked on top of each other. The crane itself stands 133 meters tall, with a span of 120 meters. Taisun was designed to install massive integrated modules weighing up to 20,000 tons on offshore drilling vessels and FPSOs in a single lift. Before Taisun existed, shipyards built these structures piece by piece in 1,000 to 2,000 ton modules, requiring weeks of installation work aboard the vessel, where access is terrible and everything takes longer. Taisun changed the game by letting engineers build entire deck sections on dry land, then dropping them onto the hull in one go. The wire rope required to operate this beast measures nearly 50,000 meters. That's 31 miles of cable running through pulleys and winches. The maximum lift height reaches 80 meters, high enough to clear most offshore platform structures during installation. When Yantai Raffles Shipyard completed Taisun's first commercial job, they lifted the 14,000-ton deck box of the Causel Pioneer Drilling semi-submersible, followed by the 17,100-ton deck box of Saipem's Scarabeo 9. But if that was China in 2008, guess what they're doing in 2025? XCMG XGC 88,000 crawler crane. 4 years after Taisun proved what was possible, XCMG decided to take things mobile. When this crawler crane rolled off the assembly line on November 2, 2012, engineers around the world lost their minds. The XGC 88,000 has a lifting capacity between 3,600 and 4,000 tons. In 2013, it lifted 4,500 tons in a single operation. That equals the weight of a fully loaded Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, and it didn't even take hours. The machine completed this lift in 15 minutes, while the crane itself weighs 5,350 tons, with a total boom length of 144 meters. So what makes this different from American cranes? The Manitowoc 31,000, America's largest crawler crane, maxes out at 2,300 tons. China more than doubled that capacity. The XGC 88,000 holds more than 80 national patents covering everything from its hydraulic systems to its stability mechanisms. Since entering service, this beast has lifted a cumulative total of 200,000 tons across major infrastructure projects. When you need to install components for offshore wind farms or assemble massive bridges, this is the crane that shows up. Speaking of massive projects, wait until you see what China built to tunnel under the Yangtze River. Zhonghai. On April 9, 2025, China unveiled Zhonghai. This tunnel-boring machine measures 16.64 meters in maximum excavation diameter, making it China's largest TBM ever built. The machine stretches 145 meters in length and weighs 5,000 tons. Named after the Chinese words for river and ocean, Zhonghai will bore the Haitai Yangtze River Tunnel in Jiangsu Province, creating the world's longest underwater highway tunnel. 16.64 meters equals the height of a 5- or 6-story building. America's famous Bertha TBM measured 17.45 meters in diameter, slightly larger. But here is the difference. Bertha broke down repeatedly during Seattle's tunnel project, causing years of delays and massive cost overruns. Zhonghai was designed by Chinese engineers who studied every failure in global tunnel boring history. The machine features redundant systems for every critical component. If one hydraulic pump fails, 3 others keep working. The cutter head can pulverize rock types that would jam lesser machines. And unlike Bertha, which required constant repairs, Zhonghai is built to bore continuously for years.
Now, boring tunnels underground is one thing, but working at extreme heights, that's where this next machine comes in.
Zoomlion ZT82J. Zoomlion's ZT82J straight-arm aerial work platform reaches 82.3 meters, making it the world's tallest straight-arm aerial platform. This marks Zoomlion's 3rd world record in straight boom platforms after breaking records with 68-meter and 72-meter models. The machine features a platform amplitude of 34.1 meters, a maximum working load of 454 kilograms, and a climbing capacity of 35%. But the real innovation sits in the boom design. Zoomlion's proprietary polygonal boom reduces weight by over 10%, increases vertical stiffness by 25%, and improves torsional resistance by 20% compared to traditional round boom designs. This means the boom weighs less but stays stronger, minimizing deformation even at maximum extension. The ZT82J incorporates 21 advanced safety technologies, plus a 13.1-meter jib that expands working range even further. American manufacturers JLG and Genie, their tallest straight-arm platforms, max out around 50 meters. Zoomlion added 32 meters to that ceiling. In August 2025, the ZT82J was delivered to the UK, setting a new benchmark for European markets. But sometimes you need to work underground without anyone even knowing you're there. XCMG XZ960E Horizontal Directional Drilling Rig. Now, we know cities hate tearing up streets. Every time a utility company needs to install a new water main or fiber optic cable under a busy intersection, traffic gets rerouted, businesses lose customers, and residents complain. That's why contractors increasingly turn to horizontal directional drilling, a method that installs pipes and cables underground without digging trenches. And the XCMG XZ960E does this job better than most American equipment at half the cost. This rig punches through soil and rock with 970 kilonewtons of thrust-pull force. The 221 kilowatt engine runs at 2,100 RPM, but the real magic happens in the hydraulic system. XCMG used closed-loop circuits with load-sensing controls that automatically adjust pressure based on ground resistance. When the drill bit hits harder geology, the system compensates instantly without waiting for the operator to react. The rotation system delivers 33,000 Newton-meters of torque at speeds up to 120 revolutions per minute. Combined with variable push-pull speeds, reaching 50 meters per minute, the rig adapts to changing soil conditions without stopping. Directional drilling works for crossing rivers, rail yards, and congested urban areas where open trenching would be impossible. The XZ960E handles 102mm drill pipes and backreamers up to 1,000 millimeters in diameter, large enough for major water mains and gas transmission lines. And if you thought that drilling rig was powerful, you haven't seen what Sany built for lifting. Sany SCC40000A. Then there's the SCC40000A. This beast has a lifting capacity up to 4,000 tons, with a lifting moment reaching 90,000 ton-meters, which means this crawler crane can lift 2,000 tons to a height of 100 meters. And if that's surprising, it's maybe because this machine alone carries more than 20 patents and uses a superlift counterweight trolley with double crawlers, a walking system with 4 crawlers and 8 drives, and V-type twin lattice booms. The crane covers an area of 3,000 square meters with 120-meter-long twin lattice booms, so just transporting it requires 150 trailer trucks. But here is what blows my mind. The total R&D and manufacturing period was just 1 year. On July 16, 2024, the crane successfully erected the 4th propylene splitter tower of China's first integrated production line. This machine does work that would require multiple smaller cranes operating in risky coordination, and one mistake could be catastrophic. While Western manufacturers spend years on development cycles, Sany went from concept to operational in 12 months. That is the difference between Chinese manufacturing speed and everyone else. Liugong 995F. The Liugong 995F weighs 95 metric tons, which makes it a serious piece of equipment. This excavator runs on a Perkins engine, pumping out 608 horsepower, and the bucket alone can scoop 7.3 cubic yards of material. That's enough to fill a dump truck in a single bite. The digging depth hits 23 feet 7 inches with a reach of 41 feet, so you're covering serious ground without constantly repositioning. But here's what really matters. This machine meets EPA Tier 4 final and EU Stage 5 emission standards, which means it's cleaner than most American equipment while doing the same work. Liugong built the boom and arm structures with reinforced steel that hold up in the nastiest conditions. The hydraulic system works in sync with the engine to maximize fuel efficiency without losing power. Every movement is controlled by an intelligent system that distributes power exactly where it's needed, cutting down cycle times and boosting productivity. The engine itself is an 18.1-liter Perkins that generates 447 kilowatts with low engine speed but high torquey output. That combination delivers massive tear-out forces when you're ripping through hard material, and the machine gives you 3 operating modes depending on what you're doing. Eco mode for lighter work, standard for everyday operations, and power mode when you need maximum force. Switch between them based on the job, and you're getting optimal performance every time. But Liugong isn't the only Chinese company making excavators that put American equipment to shame. Sany SY500H excavator. Then we have the Sany SY500H, which is a 50.5-ton beast built specifically for mining and heavy construction. But here's what makes this machine different from the competition. It's powered by a 300-kilowatt Isuzu engine at 1,800 RPM that delivers maximum torque of 1,950 Newton-meters. That kind of muscle means this excavator doesn't slow down when it hits hard rock or frozen ground. The machine weighs 49,500 kilograms and features a bucket capacity that can move massive amounts of material in a single scoop. What really sets the SY500H apart is its efficiency rating. While American excavators in this class burn through fuel like there's no tomorrow, Sany engineered this machine to meet Tier 3 emission standards while maintaining full power output. The hydraulic system delivers high efficiency with low consumption, which translates to lower operating costs over the machine's lifetime. In Malaysia, these excavators are currently working on MRT construction projects, operating 24 hours a day in challenging conditions. The removable counterweight system is another smart touch. It reduces transportation costs and complications when moving the machine between job sites. XCMG XS 263 Vibratory roller. At 26 tons, the XS 263 sits in XCMG's heavy compaction lineup as a machine built to crush everything from blasting rock to clayey soil. The drum alone weighs 17,000 kilograms, pressing down with 784 newtons per centimeter of static linear load. The 162 kilowatt SDEC SC7H220.1 G3 engine provides the muscle, but the interesting part is how XCMG transferred that power to the ground. The anti-skid hydraulic drive system adjusts power delivery based on soil resistance, preventing the drum from spinning uselessly on loose material while maintaining a consistent compaction force. Meanwhile, the vibration system operates at 2 frequencies, 27 Hz or 32 Hz, switchable on the fly. XCMG designed the drum with internal bearings that can be lubricated while the machine travels, extending service intervals and reducing maintenance downtime. Here's what separates this roller from Western equipment. The 50% gradability means this machine climbs slopes that would leave a Caterpillar CS76 sliding backwards. Dam construction, highway cuts through mountains, steep embankments, the XS263 goes wherever the project demands. And while we're comparing Chinese equipment to Caterpillar, let's talk about another excavator that's making American contractors rethink their loyalty to yellow iron. Liugong 950E excavator. Here's something wild. While Caterpillar and Komatsu fight over who's king of the excavator world, Liugong quietly built a machine that's stealing their lunch money. The 950E weighs 105,822 pounds and can dig 21 feet down into the earth, which means it can excavate a 2-story basement in one pass. But here's the thing. Under the hood sits a 400-horsepower Cummins QSG-12 engine cranking out 2,034 Newton-meters of torque. That's 1,500 pound-feet constantly hammering away at whatever rock or frozen ground stands in its way. Now, you might think any Chinese manufacturer can bolt a Cummins engine onto a steel frame and call it done. Wrong. Liu Gong built this thing with high-strength tensile steel for the boom and arm, plus castings and forgings in all the high-stress areas where cheaper excavators crack and fail. They added ROPS and FOPS protection systems, because when you're working in a quarry and rocks start falling, you want more than a prayer keeping you alive. What really separates this excavator from the pack is something you can't see from the outside. The load-sensing hydraulics come in contact to that Cummins engine constantly, adjusting flow and pressure for smooth, efficient operation. When you're not actively digging, the auto-idle function drops engine RPM to 1,000 after 7 seconds, saving fuel that adds up to thousands of dollars over a year of operation. But excavators aren't the only equipment where China is dominating. Let me tell you about a bulldozer company that conquered the world while nobody was paying attention. Shantui DH-17 bulldozer. Shantui started building dozers back in 1952, and by 1980 they went all in, reorganizing as a dedicated bulldozer manufacturer. Fast forward to 2010, and Shantui built over 10,000 bulldozers just in that year, which was 2 out of every 5 crawler-type dozers manufactured on the entire planet. Caterpillar who? So, their DH-17 represents everything they learned along the way. This 18.9-ton machine pushes 17 cubic meters of dirt with every pass, powered by a Weichai WD-10 engine running Linde hydraulic components that pump out 130 kilowatts. But here's what makes Shantui different. They don't care about breaking records or winning engineering awards. Their whole philosophy centers on reliability and cost-effectiveness, which sounds boring until you're the contractor whose Caterpillar just died in the middle of a project, and replacement parts won't arrive for 2 weeks. The DH-17 uses a power shift transmission with planetary final drives that keep power flowing even when conditions get nasty. The hydraulics feature load-sensing tech with straightforward controls and exceptional efficiency, cutting fuel consumption by 15% compared to older systems. Shantui reinforced the chassis with a 4-wheel, 1-track system built for extended service life, because they know these machines work in places where the nearest repair shop is 3 countries away. The blade moves through 4 positions for different grading jobs, while the cabin uses an integrated positive pressure design that keeps noise levels low and dust out, even when sandstorms roll through. XCMG XR 360 Rotary Drilling Rig. Now, what if you need to sink foundation piles 102 meters deep into the earth, which is roughly the height of a 30-story building? The ground could be solid rock, water-saturated clay, or some nightmarish combination of both. Most drilling rigs would take days to complete a single pile, assuming they don't break down trying. Then there's XCMG XR 360, which can drill piles up to 2.5 meters in diameter. That's wide enough to park a small car inside. The name comes from its maximum torque of 360 kilonewton meters, and that's enough rotational force to twist through rock formations that would snap lesser drilling equipment like twigs. The rig sits on a crawler chassis with extensible tracks that can widen from 3.5 to 4.8 meters, giving it stability on uneven ground, while automatic leveling jacks compensate for slopes up to 35%. The mast isn't fixed either. It telescopes and can tilt laterally up to 4 degrees, plus or minus, forward 5 degrees, and backward 15 degrees, which sounds small until you realize that at 100 meters deep, a 1-degree angle error puts your pile several meters off target. Under the hood, a Cummins QS-M11 engine delivers 298 kilowatts, feeding a hydraulic system operating at 32 megapascals that can run multiple operations simultaneously without losing pressure. But here's what separates this rig from everything else. The intelligent control system uses CAN bus technology and PLC controls, with sensors monitoring torque, depth, verticality, and hydraulic pressure every millisecond. If the drill bit hits a void or suddenly encounters harder rock, the system doesn't wait for the operator to react. It automatically adjusts rotation speed and down pressure to prevent equipment damage. Once those foundation piles are in place, you need something equally massive to build on top of them. Zoomlion R 2720 Tower Crane. On April 20th, 2023, Zoomlion announced the R2720, the world's largest tower crane, and the numbers are absolutely bonkers. This thing has a 720-ton lifting capacity, which means it can lift 500 cars to 130 floors without breaking a sweat. The crane stands 400 meters tall, which is 1,312 feet, and features a rated torque of 20,000 ton-meters. Most tower cranes top out around 300 tons of lifting capacity. The project went from design to production in just 8 months at Zoomlion's factory in Changde, which is 2 months faster than their previous record-breaking W12450 crane. What really sets this crane apart isn't just brute strength. Zoomlion's mobile balancing weight technology moves with hoisting torque, improving hoisting performance by over 60%. The design uses a high load-bearing, lightweight structure and a heavy-duty split structure that reduces the upper structure by more than 20% compared to traditional designs, making transportation, installation, and disassembly easier. The crane integrates 158 innovative scientific research achievements and 305 patents. Chinese construction companies deployed this beast on the Ma'anshan Yangtze River Highway Railway Bridge, which will become the world's longest continuous cable-stayed deck at nearly 2 miles. When your crane needs to lift entire bridge sections weighing hundreds of tons to precise positions over a river, reliability isn't optional. SANYSAP 120 C8 asphalt paver. There's a reason why China builds highways at a speed that seems physically impossible, and it's simply because of the equipment they're using. One of those machines, a tracked paver, has a maximum paving width of 12 meters and can lay 1,100 tons of asphalt per hour. The machine runs on a Sany Power D07S3 engine, delivering 170 kilowatts, which provides enough power for continuous high-speed paving without bogging down. The paver can operate at speeds up to 24 meters per minute and lay asphalt up to 350 millimeters thick in a single pass. But here's what separates this paver from American equipment. The SF250 assembly screed uses electric heating instead of burner systems, bringing everything up to operating temperature faster with less fuel waste. When you're coordinating dozens of asphalt trucks and a full paving crew, those minutes saved at the start of each shift add up fast. The hopper capacity is 8.5 cubic meters, which means fewer truck changes during continuous paving operations. The screed features a basic width of 2.5 meters that can be extended to 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12 meters, allowing crews to reconfigure for different road widths. The maximum transition speed reaches 5 kilometers per hour, making moves between job sites faster than conventional pavers. The spiral blade diameter measures 480 millimeters and 400 millimeters with a pitch of 350 millimeters, distributing asphalt evenly across the full paving width. Of course, before you can pave anything, you need to move raw materials around the site. That's where wheel loaders come in, and China's got that covered too. Lonking CDM 856 wheel loader. Caterpillar probably wishes you'd never heard of Lonking. This Chinese manufacturer has been flying under the radar while American quarry operators quietly switch over, and for good reason. The CDM 856 weighs 17.3 tons and moves material with a 3 cubic meter bucket powered by a Weichai WD 10G 220E 21 turbocharged diesel, putting out 162 kilowatts. That 9.726-liter 6-cylinder engine cranks 860 newton-meters of torque, which translates to serious digging power when you hit packed clay or fractured rock. The lifting force reaches 155 kilonewtons, enough to load dump trucks without multiple passes. The bucket dumps at 3.08 meters high, and at 3.01 meters wide, it scoops up enough material to keep production moving. The machine hits 36 kilometers per hour on hardpack, fast enough that operators aren't wasting time crawling between the stockpile and the trucks. The cab includes air conditioning as standard equipment, not as an expensive add-on like some manufacturers charge for. American operators running these loaders report something Caterpillar won't want to hear. Productivity matches their yellow iron, while the purchase price comes in 30% lower. When a wheel loader costs $200,000 less and moves the same amount of rock per shift, quarry managers stop caring about brand names. So there you have it. From cranes lifting weights that shouldn't be possible to tunnel boring machines that make American equipment look like toys from the last century, China isn't just playing catch-up anymore. They've lapped everyone else twice and are still accelerating. American contractors who spent decades loyal to Caterpillar and John Deere are now placing orders for Chinese equipment because the math doesn't lie. What's your take on all this? Are Chinese construction machines the future, or does Western equipment still have an edge somewhere? Let me know in the comments.